Michael, the senior final, it's going to be an intriguing game. Here you have Clonmel Commercials taking on the mighty Lockmore Castellani, who are now going for the double.
Yeah, they certainly are, Stevie, and a third double. Nobody has ever done a double before, and Lockmore are going for a third one this weekend, having won the hurling final there last weekend. But yeah, look, Commercials are going for title number 22. It would give them a clear lead on atop of the roll of honour should they get over the line. They are also going for a three in a row, having won 22 and 23. But I suppose the last time they were going for three in a row was in 21, and Lockmore defeated them in that final and won the double at the same time. So I wonder will history repeat itself at the weekend. But both had very good wins, very, very easy wins, I suppose, in the semi-finals. Both only conceded 5 points. Commercial scoring 16. And Lockmore scoring 216. So it's very little to choose between the two teams. They met in Clonoulty back at the end of August, early September, and it was a draw 2-9 to 15 points. Trying to pick a winner out of the two of them it will be a hard job. Commercials have probably changed tact a bit since that game. Quinlivan is back against Ballina. He played at centre back. In the semi-final he played as a sweeper. It'll be interesting to see does he line out as a sweeper now again on Sunday, and that's I suppose maybe there is a little bit in the Commercial psyche that their defence is needs some help, and that's why Quinlivan is gone back to help out there.
But it looks like that, Michael, don't it?
Yeah, and it's strange for Commercials who are I suppose a real footballing side, and
they don't normally do that.
Yeah, wouldn't have been known for, especially within Tipperary, of kind of sitting back and being defensive. They were always on the attack. Lockmore in their semi-final looked. John was at it, but they looked. They really went after the game and they had it wrapped up fine and early. Played brilliant football. Went on the attack. Now their opponents didn't lay a glove on them, so I suppose it was easy for them to do that in the semi-final. But Noel McGrath, similar to the hurling, dictates a lot of matters from the middle of the field, and himself and Liam Tracy are a fair unit there, the two of them in the middle of the park, and Commercials will really need to get a handle on them on Sunday, Stevie.
John?
Yeah, I'd agree with Michael there. Yeah, and John McGrath, while wearing 15 on his back, usually he stands in for the throw-in there, and he operates around sort of a roving part around the middle of the field as well, and you could see him back in defence a couple of times actually. The last day against Mile Rovers, he was the last man back there, he covered an amount of the field, but he covered it at his own pace, and that was the real difference the last day. It was a very funny semi-final where Lockmore...
In what way was it funny?
Lockmore attacked sort of pedestrian style. Just looked around, picked up a man, running, waiting for the man to come on, and Mile Rovers never laid a glove on him. Whereas the second semi-final, where Commercials attacked really at pace, and they got back behind the ball, where Kilsheelan were a slow build-up. Now it will be a totally different game on Sunday, because Commercials haven't been going well this year by their previous year's standards, and if we take it going back to 2012, with the exception of 2018 when Mile Rovers won the county final, the finals have been shared between Lockmore and Commercials, but this year, for some particular reason, they didn't get a good run in the league. Mile Rovers beat him in the final, beat him in the round, beat him in the South final, beat him in the group stages of the championship.
So what kind of a game are you going to expect on this coming Sunday?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it will be a sort of a cat and mouse. They'll be watching one.
12-14 points to win?
A lot of them will be, a lot of the scores will be probably off breaks and whatever. But, we haven't seen anything yet from Commercials this year. And it would be hard to see them going through a Tipp championship, especially going for 3 in a row, going to top the roll of honour, without a kick out of them, and that's what I'd be expecting, a kick out of them on Sunday. But you know what, the way Lockmore are at the moment, and they're on a high, and the way they have been going all season, they're undefeated, came through the Tipp championship in hurling and football undefeated. Their only, I suppose, hiccup was the draw in Clonoulty tonight with Commercials. Now I expect Lockmore to get over the line, narrows the margins, I would imagine, on Sunday, and attain their third double there since 2013.
Michael, is there any fear that we could end up a draw going to, is it a replay or extra time on this one?
A replay.
A replay, okay. Any fear of that, Michael?
Well, I'd say there's a real fear of it. There never is really too much between these two sides, Stevie. Look, I think when you look at the Commercials team and the talent that they have through it, Sean O'Connor, like, is probably the standout footballer probably of the two teams, and that's no disrespect to anyone else on any of the other 29 players, but he has real star quality. I think he got 9 or 10 points in that semi-final. He has played Sigerson Cup with UCC. Really stands out even at that level, you know. And I just think he's an excellent footballer. They do have some good young players coming. Keane Smith, who is still in under 21, he's a real addition now. He was on and off the team there last year, but he's a powerful guy. He came on and scored a point there, or got a point or two the last day, and he adds a lot of attack. And McGarry is another wonderful footballer for them. So Lockmore will really have to be on their game defensively, and they'll have Larkin Egan, and probably the most underrated player in both codes in John Ryan, who plays cornerback on the Lockmore team, and just does everything just so well. Just the kind of, his standards are really high, but it's just everything he does, it's simple, it's right, and Joe just lays off the ball. So he's a real, he will do a lot of work back in that full back line for Lockmore now at the weekend. Yeah, I think you're right. A draw certainly could be on the cards. I don't think there'll be a score in it either side. If you look at their averages over the championship, both fairly equal, about 16.4 points per game for Commercials, just around the 16 for Lockmore. Lockmore better defensively, just a little over 9 points a game conceded, whereas Commercials are on 10 points conceded. So very little in the averages of the two teams. So certainly a draw is on the card, Stevie. But I if I had money, I wouldn't be putting it on either of them. I just couldn't pick a winner of it.
Michael, well, I have you. We have the intermediate football final. It's also going to be a local derby, because here Galtee Rovers will be taking on Arlo. The mother of all battles is expected. Will it be that?
Yeah, I think it will, Stevie. And oftentimes when these county finals are played in the stadium, the football ones, the crowd can be lost inside in the big stadium. There won't be a sinner left in Bancha or Aherlow or Latin at the weekend.
Many people were hoping this game would be in Sean Tracy Park in Tipperary Town to attract a bigger crowd, but it is what it is.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I suppose for supporters playing the game in Sean Tracy Park would have been huge, and everyone, I suppose, would have been able to go for it. For the players, every player wants to play in the stadium, and I think that every player at the start of the year should have aspirations of playing in Semple Stadium, no matter what grade you're at, be it junior B or be it senior in both grades. And I wouldn't have any issue if all those finals were played in the stadium, you know. But yeah, look, getting back to Galtee Rovers and Aherlow, I suppose, I know I say it all the time, I've been tipping Galtee Rovers from the start. They really stuttered, though, I have to say, in the semi-final. Came out on top by a point, 3-5 to 110, and needed the second last kick of the game to win. Darren McGrath getting the ball out around 45 yards and weaving his way in along and putting a low shot past Jack Corvin, and Sean Everett blew up the whistle on the kick out. But for a lot of that game, Golden were probably the better team and had done all the hard work and had got themselves back into it. Of the 3-5, I think 2-4 of it came from place balls for Galtee Rovers, and Robbie McGrath, who's in the goals this year, young guy, he's only 19 years old. He comes up and takes 45s and that's a real he's very accurate, and anything kind of in or around the 45 he's very good to land it, and like that's a real weapon for Galtee Rovers Galtee Rovers have. Bill Quirk is another one in the middle of the field. Shane Power at full forward. Shane Egan again also very accurate on the frees, and Darren McGrath who won a penalty and scored the last day. So some real good players on the Galtee Rovers side. I'm expecting this to be a fierce battle. Aherlow were in the final last year, took it to a replay. They were coming back to win it this year anyway, and now that it's Galtee Rovers in the final, they certainly won't want to leave it behind them.
John, let's go to this one. I mean, the Bear will be shouting on from the sidelines.
Yeah, look at. I would love to have seen that at a West venue. You know, I'm a sort of I think different than Mike on that one. You know what I mean? But it is where it is. Look at Aherlow felt themselves that they left it behind them twice last year. The drawn game, and the second day where they were only beaten by a point. But as Mike said, they came right back this year from the start. You know, first game against Commercials, second game against Éire Óg Anacarty, got into the playoffs, had to come through the quarter final. Extra time in the quarter final, extra time in the semi final. So they know how to grind out a tight game. But look at.
But John, it would be a bitter pill for Aherlow to swallow if they were to lose this one again.
It would, you know, if you lose two on the trot, like, you know, because if you look at the age profile there, you have Ray Hennessy there, Mark Hanley, Barry Grogan. You know, these guys are around. They have a lot of football. Coscoran, they have a lot of football played, Stevie. You know, they'd love. Some of them have. Grogan have a senior football medal. Like, you know what I mean. Some of those lads, they're probably coming towards the end of their careers. Like, you know what I mean. And they would like to go out on a high. But then if you take Ty Carew, Ben Carey, Gary Quirk, all these young lads, O'Halloran, Michal Elliott, they have a nice blend, a nice mixture. But it's hard to. I suppose to look past Galtee Rovers because the new players that they have, these 17s and 19s that have come up along, but they're not firing on all cylinders yet this year. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
This is a game, John, that I'm expecting it to be a low-scoring game.
I think so, yes. There's not a doubt in the world about that. At times even, it could become a boring sort of a game because, like
Too much at stake.
I saw that semi-final victory over Golden by Galtee Rovers, and the score at half-time was 2 goals for Galtee, scored from 2 penalties, 4 points from play by Golden. That tells an awful lot. It did pick up a little bit in the second half, but from an entertainment value product, it certainly wasn't there. You know, the whole thing was packed into the last 2 minutes of injury time, put it that way. So I'm expecting a low-scoring game. Barry Grogan will have a lot to say, I think, in the destination of that trophy. Weather forecast on Sunday now mightn't be the greatest, you know, for a dead ball kicker, you know what I mean? So we'll have the fingers crossed on that one, you know what I mean?
So, John, where do you think the cup is going to be going on Sunday night? Is it going to Maroonies in Lisfanane, or is it popping into Nelly O'Halloran's in Bansha?
I've a sneaking feeling it might go to Lisfanane.
Michael?
Well, I suppose I won't back away from it now, Stevie. I've been tipping Galtee all year. But yeah, look, I think it will be a real battle, and I think I know Galtee probably obviously didn't play too well in the semi-final, but that was probably their first real test of the whole year. You know, they had gone straight to the semi-final after topping their group, and they didn't really get tested in 2-15-10 against Mine, and then I don't know, was it 2-14 to 2 points or something like that in their game against Mike Harkey, or 3 points I think it was. But that was their first real test, and even though it took the last kick of the game, they came out on top, and I suppose that's the sign of a team that it is looking at winning a county final.
Michael, what about the underage success, not only at the West level, at winning West titles, but also to win counties? Surely there's great potential there now for this.
Yeah, huge potential in the Galtee Rovers club, I'd say, in the future, Stevie, regardless of the result on Sunday. They've an awful lot done underage, been in 17 and 19 finals there over the last couple of years, and they've brought through some really good footballers. The Abbey success over the last couple of years has had a good number of Galtee Rovers guys kind of to the fore in those games, and like that, we'll say success breeds success, and those guys are used to winning, and whether it comes on Sunday or not, I suppose will all be on the day, but it's eventually going to come for that Galtee Rovers side, such as the talent that they have coming through.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. We'll now move on to the junior final, and here it's right outside where we are at the moment, which is the Kickhams, and we're here in Dundrum doing our podcast for this evening, and Kickhams are playing in the junior final against Killadangan. What chance have they?
They have every chance. They're in the final, Stevie. They had a very good win in the semi-final against St. Pat's. Kind of came from behind when they looked like they had led for a lot of it, and then they were pegged back and passed out by a Pat's team coming down the stretch, and they got 2 goals, finishing up Conor O'Mahony and the returning Conor Horgan getting goals for them. That gave them the victory. They'll be going for their second title at this grade. They won one in 2009. So look, Kickhams have every chance. Played very well throughout the West. Beat Arville Rovers in the final. They beat 2 South Tipp teams in the quarter-final and semi-final, Ballyluby and St. Pat's. So yeah, they'll be going into the game full of confidence. Up against it now, I have to say, against a Killadangan side. Obviously, Killadangan's first team as well. Killadangan had been senior in 18 and 19. Came down and then didn't play football and ended up in the junior. Of course, they had a couple of players that were involved in Ballina going back 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they won this title. They're going for their third title at this grade, having won it last in 2011. So yeah, look, I think it'll be an interesting game. 12:30 in Templederry there on Saturday. I give Kickhams every chance. Joe Dwyer is probably their ace marksman, but good players all over the field. And Conor O'Mahony's coming on as a sub and always seems to get on the score sheet, which is obviously a good thing for any sub coming in. So look, it'll be an interesting game. Probably if Killadangan produce, they will win it, but then they struggled in the semi-final against Borland, 2-6 to 8 points, and yeah, look, Kickhams have every chance, Stevie, going into Saturday.
John, what are your views on this game?
Yeah, I suppose, look, Kickhams are missing a few key players on Saturday coming into this game there through injury and suspension, and I think that may have, tilt the balance towards Killadangan. I sort of half fancy Killadangan there, because they have a lot of experienced guys, lads who played senior football only a couple of years ago, intermediate football, then opted out of it, and I just think that the balance have tilted a bit in Killadangan's favour there with the unavailability of some of the Kickhams players.
Okay, John, a brief look at the Premier Junior.
Yeah, the Premier Junior, the inaugural final of that, they're down to Lochmore Castleiney again. They have a chance of starting off the weekend well on Saturday there at, when is it on? It's 3:30 on Saturday in the Rag, up against our neighbours JK Brackens. The 2 semi-finals were sort of contrasting ones. Brackens got over, I suppose it would be a second string Cashel King Cormac's, 1-8 to 1-3 in the semi-final 2 weeks ago. Cashel didn't field any of their hurling stalwarts that played last Sunday, and I suppose by being careful like that, they'll justify the position taken when they have got back up to Dan Breen in the hurling, and let's congratulate them on it there. The second senior team in West Tipperary for next year. But, Bracken sort of struggled against that Cashel outfit, whereas the second semi-final was here in Dundrum on the Saturday there, and it was Mile Rovers, up against Lochmore, and really and truly the game was over as a spectacle after 10 minutes, or as a contest I should say. Now while they did, and while Mile Rovers gave good value for money and battled on, it was really Lochmore who done all the work there. Cian Hennessy got 3-2 that day. I think he got 3-1 from play. Ed Connolly was back around midfield there. I think he finished with 1-2 or 1-3. You had Micheál McGrath, Kieran McCormack, all those lads. They are lads that have featured last Sunday in the hurling as well. So, I mean, they're going for their second county medal
But
in 2 weeks.
who do you think is going to win it?
I think Lockmore will win it, Stevie.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there. Michael, just before we do, what are your views on it?
Well, on that game, I think Lockmore, just looking at the games that have been played so far, I think maybe Lockmore will probably have a good spread of talent throughout their team and will come out on top. Conor McGrath there still plays junior B football and or Premier Junior football and is a real addition to them. But just before I finish, I just want to echo what John said there. Brilliant for Cashel to win the county Premier Intermediate title last weekend. Really showed their true colours, especially in the last 20 minutes, scoring I think 111 in the last 18 minutes.
What will it do for the town of Cashel and for the parish of Cashel, and not only that but for the club?
I'm sure brilliant. I mean, we were there last week. We saw the colour that was out, the crowds that were in. There was probably a bigger crowd, I would say, that came in to watch the Premier Intermediate final last week than the senior final. Such two towns being involved in it, and look, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for Cashel. It's brilliant for the West Division as well, I have to say. We now have a West Senior Championship for definite next year. Clonoulty and Cashel will be in that final. We have a Premier Intermediate final with the Tracy's staying up, and Tracy's and Air Oak will go at it in that West final. So from a divisional point of view, it was a real good result. But for Cashel as a club, it's brilliant. They're back. They had struggled for a long time, I suppose, at senior. They last won a senior in 95, and they were in a final in 05 and sprinkled throughout, and then eventually were relegated around 2012, 2013, I think it was. But they're coming back strong now. Real good age profile in their team. Started 4 under-19s, so like those guys will only get better going into 2025 and beyond. They've won a 15. They were semi-finalists at 17, and they won the 19 and were very unlucky against Mary. So a lot of talent coming through in Cashel Club, and they'll really put it up to Clonoulty, if not next year, certainly in years to come.
And Michael, there is no doubt, but they will remember the late Timmy Maloney in this one.
Yeah, he was remembered in the Victoria speech from James Cummins at the weekend as well, and it was just over 12 months, I think, since Timmy had passed away. And they hadn't got over the line against Lara just after Timmy had passed, and look, they did it for themselves at the weekend, but they did it for Timmy as well, and it was good to see it acknowledged by James when he was accepting the cup.
Gentlemen, I thank you both for joining me again here this evening.